Hello learners, welcome to another video of exploring and investigating the world around us. Before I announce the topic for this video, let me see if you are able to answer a few questions. See if you can identify what these pictures have in common. We have a picture of snow, the sea and clouds. And yes, you've guessed it right, it's water. You learned the previous year that water exists in three different forms. They are the solid, liquid, and the gaseous form. And these three forms are known as the states of matter. So this is what we will be learning in this lesson in the next upcoming videos. In this particular video, we are going to learn about the definition of matter. You'll be learning about what matter is made up of, that is, the smallest particles of matter, the atoms and molecules. We'll also learn about the properties of matter. We'll look specifically into the properties of thermal conductivity, electrical conductivity, and magnetism. You will learn two new terms, that is, conductors and insulators. Without much ado, let's begin our lesson. So what is matter? Well, matter is defined as anything that has mass and takes up space, that is, anything that has volume. And that's practically everything around us. And when I say everything, I mean things that are visible as well as invisible. Let's take another look at what matter is. Examples of matter is everything around us. You yourself comes under the category of matter. Anything that you wear, all the things around you, living and non-living, come under the category of matter because they have mass and they take up space. What about air and the clouds? Well, we can't see air, but you have learned in the previous classes that air has weight and air takes up space. So that means air comes under the category of matter too. For the sake of comparison, here are a few things that do not come under the category of matter. Rainbow, light which has been reflected on its surfaces, thoughts or memory, and emotions like love, all of these things do not come under the category of matter. Well then, what is matter made up of? Water is made up of tiny particles called as atoms. Atoms are extremely tiny. They cannot be seen with the naked eyes. Atoms come together in different combinations to form molecules. And molecules are the building blocks for all types of matter. Molecules are the smallest unit of a substance that still shows the properties or characteristic behavior of that substance. What do we mean by the word properties or characteristic behavior? Well, the property of a substance is a quality of a substance that allows us to distinguish or differentiate it from any other substance. Let's talk about water. The smallest mass of water, which still behaves like water, is a water molecule. A water molecule is made up of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen, which gives its popular name H2O. The atoms of hydrogen are glued in a special way to the atom of oxygen. If we split the molecule of water into hydrogen atoms and oxygen atom, these will no longer behave as a water molecule. Let me show you. A water molecule would look like this. You will have to spend a lot of energy to break it apart and separate them into hydrogen atoms and oxygen atom. Water molecules at room temperature behave as liquids or show the property of being a liquid, whereas hydrogen atoms at room temperature, they behave as a gas. And so do oxygen atoms, as you have learned that oxygen is a component of air. Therefore, when you break apart a water molecule, it no longer behaves like a water molecule. That is, the properties of water can no longer be seen. More about properties. Some of the physical properties of substances include they are changing states without altering or changing the identity of the substance. Once again, water is an excellent example for this. Let's compare the property of state at room temperature for water with oxygen and hydrogen. A water molecule always exists in the liquid state at room temperature, whereas molecules of oxygen made up of 2 atoms of oxygen and hydrogen made up of 2 atoms of hydrogen exist in the gaseous state and not in the liquid state at room temperature. The property of a substance is also characteristic for its mass as well as volume. Another property which is very important is the property of thermal conductivity. Let's take a closer look at thermal conductivity. What is thermal conductivity? The word thermal means heat and conductivity means the capacity to conduct or transfer or carry forward. Thermal conductivity is a measure of how readily heat flows through materials. Thermal conductors are materials which allow heat to flow through them easily. For example, substances like metals are extremely good conductors of heat, which is why it would not be advisable for you to touch a vessel which is on the stove while it's cooking, because vessels are made up of metal and metals are good conductors of heat or good thermal conductors. Thermal insulators do not allow heat to flow through them easily, and this is why we use wooden spoons or non-stick spoons made up of plastic to stir our food so that the handle does not get hot and it is safe to hold. Materials such as cloth, plastic, fiber, nylon, these are all good thermal insulators. That is, they do not allow heat to flow through them easily. Take for example a kettle. As you can see, most of the parts of a kettle are made up of metal. This is because it's important for the kettle to conduct heat so that the water in it can quickly come to a boil. But the parts of the kettle which are to be handled are made up of plastic. This is to make it safe for us to hold the kettle without burning our hands. Can you think of any other examples? Like maybe an iron box? Now let's learn more about the property of electrical conductivity. Electrical conductivity is a property which allows materials to conduct or carry forward or transfer electricity through them. So conductors allow electric energy to pass through them. Examples of electrical conductors are the same as those of thermal conductors. That is, all metals are good electrical conductors. Silver, gold, steel, copper, seawater, just to name a few, are good conductors of electricity. They allow electricity to pass through them quite easily, which is why most of the wiring that you see in your house is made up of copper wires. But the copper wires are covered by a plastic coating or covering to make it safe for us to handle them. This is because plastic, just like glass, rubber, oil, wood, etc., are insulators of electricity. Do not allow the electric energy to pass through them, and therefore they are known as electrical insulators. Now let us learn more about the property of magnetism. I'm sure that you're all familiar with magnets and what they do. Well, the property of magnetism is a property by which a substance is attracted by magnets. You must have noticed that magnets do not attract all kinds of substances around you. Examples of substances that are magnetic and are attracted by magnets are iron, cobalt, steel, and nickel. I can see Nick is an excellent acronym for you to remember these names. Some more examples of magnetic materials. A knife made Here are some more examples of magnetic materials. A knife made up of nickel, a cobalt coin, a steel spoon, an iron nail, a steel paper clip. These are all attracted by magnets because they are made up of magnetic materials. What about some non-magnetic materials? Materials which are not attracted to a magnet are called as non-magnetic materials. And these include metals like gold, aluminium, silver, and copper. Some more examples of non-magnetic materials are materials like paper, glass, plastic, rubber, and wood. Let's recap what you have learned in this video. Matter is anything that occupies space and has volume. Properties are the unique qualities by which we can distinguish a substance from other substances. A molecule is the smallest particle of a substance that retains its properties. Molecules are made up of atoms which are bonded together. Thermal conductivity is a property by which substances carry heat easily. Examples of thermal conductors are metals like copper, gold, steel, aluminium, etc. Examples of insulators are wood, plastic, rubber, glass, etc. Electrical conductivity is a property by which substances carry electricity easily. Conductors of electricity or electrical conductors are metals like copper, gold, steel, aluminium, etc. Examples of insulators of electricity are wood, plastic, rubber, glass, etc. Magnetism is a property of a substance that causes it to be attracted by magnets. Examples of magnetic substances are iron, steel, and nickel. Examples of non-magnetic substances are copper, gold, plastic, and rubber. While you learn and grasp the concepts that we just covered in this video, keep laughing about this. You really should care about atoms because they matter. I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, keep learning and keep exploring. Bye-bye.